Welcome to Sage Audio. Today let's look at how to mix kick drum. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. What to EQ on a kick? When EQing a kick, I like to find different important frequency ranges and conceptualize them as the sub, the heartbeat, the thump, knock, snap, and click. Now, although this probably sounds a little dumb, each region that I'm showing here really does sound like their name when they're isolated. Now to find them, start by finding the fundamental or the lowest note. This is going to be the sub. The next strongest spike is typically the heartbeat. From there, harmonics of the kick's fundamental make up the other four regions. This way I can quickly identify what I want more or less of, and then amplify or attenuate these bands accordingly. Let's take a listen to these different regions, and let me know in the comments if you think they sound like the names that I've given to them here. Kick compressor recommendations. When trying to find a compressor for your kick, there are two that I'd recommend. The first is an 1176 or an 1176 emulation. The quick attack and release settings cause the transient of the kick to be distorted, resulting in a punchy and aggressive sound. Next, I'd recommend a DBX 165A compressor or an emulation. Try a 4:1 ratio, auto attack and release, and engaging the limiter. This creates a cool pumping sound that I think works well on the kick. Let's take a listen to both. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps us bring you more videos. Compressors to avoid. Some compressors really do not work well on a kick. For example, this emulation of an RCA broadcast compressor either ruins the kick's transient or compresses for so long, it's as if it was just lowering the volume. Another compressor to avoid would be an optical compressor. Again, it's just too slow to work well on a kick. So let's take a listen to both and let me know if you're hearing the same issues that I'm hearing. Advanced Kick Saturation. This Shaperbox plugin from Cable Guys has given me some cool ideas when saturating. First, I chose the drive function, then I introduced saturation via the drive slider, and introduced some wave shaping at lower amplitudes as well. Then I isolated the saturation to areas above my kick sub. At the bottom, I selected audio, which triggers the distortion only when audio passes a threshold, which I could control more in the global trigger window. Lastly, I thought it was awesome that I could shift the trigger, meaning the distortion would begin later in the kick. So if I wanted a couple milliseconds of the kick to be unaffected, I could trigger distortion later. All these settings resulted in a pretty unique sound, so let's take a listen to it. Massive kick with inflator. This next sound is a little easier to achieve, but it sounds great nonetheless. Now with the inflator, I'll increase both the effect amount and the curve to their maximum levels, then I'll reduce the input to compensate for gain changes. The high curve creates a super warm, low frequency dense sound. In short, it creates this massive kick sound in which quieter parts of the low frequency range are brought to the front. Let's take a listen to how it sounds. Augmenting kick skin vibration. Somewhat similar to the last chapter, we could use this upward compressor to bring forward quieter details of the kick, but unlike last chapter, all of the quieter details will be amplified, not just mainly the low frequencies. I find this works great at amplifying the kick skin's vibration. It's still a little subtle, but if you listen, you can hear the wobble of the drum skin after the initial hit. That said, try this plugin or a similar one if you want to amplify some of the more organic aspects of the kick. degradation, and tone generation. If we distort and degrade a kick with the right types of processing, we can generate tones and harmonics that give the kick a much more unique sound. With this Lifeline Expanse plugin from Excite Audio, I first introduced fuzz distortion mainly on the low frequencies. I used some very subtle reamping to give a distinct character, and then introduced bit and sample rate reduction to generate tones on the kick sustain. Lastly, I used this mono function to center the effect, making it more suitable for a kick since we typically want this centered. Let's take a listen to how unique distortion and signal degradation can give us a really interesting tone. If you're enjoying the channel, use the search box to watch more of our videos. Augmenting kick click with reverb. If we reverberate frequencies around the kick's click, we can emphasize them in a mix. Now, I started with this preset, but I'll change things to better suit this kick. Now, with what we discussed in Chapter 1 in mind, I'll center the reflections around the harmonic responsible for the click sound. A shorter time works best, as does an emphasis on brighter reflections with no modulation. Let's take a listen and notice how the click is enhanced. Increasing kick sustain with reverb. Similar to the last chapter, we could use reverb to emphasize the kick sustain, this time by isolating reflections to lower frequencies and increasing the decay of the sub to heartbeat regions. Now this time, lots of modulation helps since it mimics the wobble of the kick skin. We'll make the time a little longer and also emphasize later reflections. Let's take a listen to how the kick sustain is increased a lot by this reverb. Understanding clipping on kick. Clipping can be useful on a kick if you want to add some mid to high frequency distortion. If we use this free clip plugin and perform a null test with a phase inverted version of the original kick, we can hear what's being added with the processor. As we switch between the different clip types, we'll notice that the distortion becomes lower in pitch and that it distorts for a longer amount of time. Let's take a listen to the null test, and I hope that this helps you the next time that you add clipping to a kick. If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.